This is our maiden meeting, and I want to assure you that the committee is set to ensuring that there is transparency, there is accountability in the management and disposal of public assets going forward. And when we talk of public assets, we're not talking of physical assets alone, we're talking of tangible, intangible, even investments of federal government in concessions, in privatization and all of that. And, a lot of things have gone under the bridge. But I want to assure you that this is a new dawn. It's a new beginning. This is the first time that the National Assembly is having this kind of committee, because we have actually noticed those things that you mentioned about the corruption in the management and disposal of public assets. And I want to assure you that this committee will act in accordance with the provision of the Constitution to investigate wastages, block wastages, and ensure that there is transparency and accountability. That is the reason why the leadership of this 10th Assembly, in their wisdom, thought that it is important for us to have this committee. Let me tell you, Nigeria is being underestimated, because when you talk about the GDP of a country, it doesn't mean what they have alone in terms of tangible assets. In fact, what we have as assets in this country have not been properly valued. On the website, like we rightly mentioned there, on the website of MOFI, that's the Ministry of Finance Incorporated, they have it that the asset of federal government is about $18 billion. But that is not true. It's actually more than that. From my own estimates, I'm seeing over $100 billion in terms of asset there. Well, the budget has nothing to do with this. But I want to assure you that there won't be any spillover. We are starting on a very clean slate.
If you look at any financial statement, you have the assets and you have the liabilities, and that's what gives you, the net, whatever we have. Either it's a net loss or it's a net profit or whatever it is. That's what every reasonable country should have. So I agree with her. It's very important for us to know what we own. That way we can easily manage what we own, for this nation. Just knowing we are owing this, we are owing that is not enough. There are so many things that we need to manage properly. We also need to manage our short-term assets. Thinking about the current assets that we have our fixed assets that we also need to manage. We have our intangible assets that we need to manage, and there are so many things, and our financial assets as well. So when we look at all these things in a holistic view, I think, and we can manage all these things, I think it's going to put us on a better footing, not just at this country, but how people see us from outside this country. So we're excited about this retreat. I think it's going to start to kickstart that process where people start thinking differently, and we're hoping this will bring that needed change to this country. I think it's a good idea, and not just asset recovery, we also have asset disposal as well. So these are things that I think we are very critical to nation building. We want to have a process by which everybody can go through the same uniform process, so we have orderliness in what we do. We just don't want any ministry, department, or agency doing things arbitrarily. There has to be some laid down process so we can get things going in the right direction. And I think what we're doing here today would jumpstart that process. And we're looking forward to having to put legislature, behind this process so we can give it the backing of the law. So that's why we're here to talk about those critical things that are very important, that would help this nation reduce its losses. Because if you listen to what the president said when he delivered the budget to the National Assembly just about a week ago, he was very critical about the losses that we have had in recent past. And this country has lost a lot of critical resources and critical assets, a lot of assets, tangible, intangible assets, and the legislature will put some legal framework that can help us reduce, if not eliminate, the losses we're currently experiencing. So that's the essence of this retreat that we're having.
There is recovery and management from the part of the legislation we just discovered that different government entities have interloping functions. So the first and foremost thing that will be done, we're going to look at the legislation that will ensure that there are no photocopies. Each of the government entities like MOFI, like BPE, they don't have acts. Acts have been promulgated that is making both of them to, run the same thing or do the same thing. So they are going to have defined regulations that will ensure that they are not interwoven. Also, we're going to look at ways that there'll be transparency in the government assets that have been confiscated, that have been seized, the record keeping of these government assets, the proceeds of these government assets. That will go a long way in helping us reduce our, the loans we have. Because, like for instance, EFCC said they recovered a huge sum of money, and this money can be given back to the federal government. They can interject the money in the development of infrastructural improvements in Nigeria. So our committee is looking at ways of ensuring that the regulations bordering on these various government entities are improved upon. One, the government assets that were seized, or the ones that were confiscated, and the revenue accrued from these government seized and confiscated assets are used for the betterment of our people.